guys, welcome back to the Wood Metal Workshop. I'm Kent. Got a new little project we're going to do today. I've got a tile job coming up, so I went ahead and pulled the old tile saw out of storage, and just to check it out, make sure that everything works properly, make sure the pump's working. Lubed up the slide so the slide moves well. Check the drain plug to make sure the pan doesn't leak. All that stuff that you want to do when you're going to be cutting tile in somebody's house. And then I went ahead and made a new guard flap on the back here to kind of lessen the amount of spray I'm getting, and then I adjusted the clip so the saw is getting enough water for lubrication, but it's not spraying everywhere. Hate to make a mess in a customer's home. It's nice if you can just put down a tarp, set up your table, and do your cutting without making a big mess that you have to clean up. So anyhow, aside for this job that's coming up, what I usually do is I usually use a folding table to set this on, or a counter or something. It's fairly small, so it fits most places. Yeah, by the way, it's a MK Diamond 770 saw. Look it up on the internet if you want to see what this saw costs or what it can do. I was actually surprised because I've never looked it up before. I bought this at an auction, and so anyhow, long story short, I decided that a stand would be really nice for this. So I figured, okay, you know what? I'll get online and I'll order a stand. So I went ahead and did the old Google foo and figured out which model it was, and looked it up, and one of the first things that popped up was the saw with the stand, and it was just under $600. I think, okay, and then right below that was just the saw alone, no stand, and it was almost $500. I figured, $100 for a stand, no big deal. I'll go ahead and find the stand and order up a stand for this. They wanted over $200 for just the stand. Okay, you know what? It's some square tubing and a couple other things. So no way am I paying over $200 for a stand. $100, yeah, because it would save me time and money. But I got some shop time, so we're gonna go ahead and build a stand for this and make sure it's good and stable and get ready for work. So let's get moving on this. First thing I'm gonna do is pull the pump, get that out of the way. And pull the tray out. I did do some test cuts, just in case anybody's wondering. So I suppose I should unplug it. Might be a good idea. So now we got to figure out how to build a stand for this. Want to make it folding. Want to make sure it's stable. I went out and dug around in the steel rack to see what I had out there, and unfortunately I didn't have any 1-inch square tube with 062 wall. The only thing I had out there was 1-inch and a 1/4-inch wall, which that's just way overkill for what this is. But I did have a piece of 1 1/4 that's or 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. Might be 1 1/2. Yeah, 1 1/2. 062 wall, so that'll work pretty good for this. A little heavier than what I need, but it'll work. So first thing to do is kind of figure out how we want the stand thing to work. It's got some bracing and stuff on the bottom here. Let's see if I can tip this up and you guys can see what I'm looking at. So here's the base, nice welded galvanized base. So we need something that this will sit on securely and support it at about the right height. That piece is just over 14 feet long. Need 4 legs, divide by 4, subtract a little bit for cut. So the pieces are going to be 44 inches. So I'm thinking if we do a folding stand that opens up and looks like has some angle iron at the top, maybe a spreader at the bottom on at least one side to keep it from moving. This will set down in there. 1.25 inches, so find some angle. I'm sure I've got something around here, some 1 inch or whatnot to make the 2 angle pieces. And the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get the legs cut, and we'll go from there. Looks like I gotta do a little cleaning first. Seem to have parts for other projects still hanging out here. Isn't that the way it always is? Got a question for you guys. I mean, put it down in the comments. I've always got little offcuts of steel from projects, and what I've been doing is taking old 5-gallon buckets, get drywall mud buckets and roof coating buckets and all that stuff, and just popping a few small holes in the bottom of them, and so they won't hold liquid. Put all my scrap steel in there, and then set those 5-gallon buckets outside until it's time to go to the scrapyard, where I can just load the buckets in the trailer, take them to the scrapyard, and just dump them out. Or if the buckets are in bad shape, just leave the buckets with them. So, anyways, how do you guys store all your little offcuts and stuff? Not stuff that you're going to use, stuff that's going to recycling. Put down in the comments. All right, guys. Off camera, I went ahead and took the wire wheel and out of the grinder and cleaned the schmooze off, most of the stuff off these pieces that I cut. So next thing to do is to mark our pivot holes for our hinge. So I'm just going to square this up, make sure that they're all at the same length. Makes it a little easier that way. And then they're 44 inches long, so we'll go 22 sounds good. Right in the center. Just a little hint, for most things I've switched to these Milwaukee Inksols markers. They seem to do a little bit better job marking than the Sharpie brand. So just go ahead and even that's not showing up too good as it dries. Silver Sharpie, that's a little bit better, but not much. And we're just going to mark centers, center punch, and go drill these. Not that this has to be overly precise, but so one way you can make sure you've got center, let's put 2 scratch marks. See, I'm about 1/16 of an inch off there. Pretty much the thickness of the scribe. There we go, that's center. So what I did there is I took my spring-loaded center punch and marked first, and then I came back with striking center punch and made the divots a little bit deeper. So those are ready to drill. Let's move over to the drill press. All right, gentlemen, got a drill bit in the drill press. What I found was some 5/16 carriage bolts. So two of the pieces are going to have a larger hole, so I can either grind that off so it's round, or just make a larger hole so this fits inside. So grab a drill bit to make a larger hole, and two of them on one side. So that's how we're going to do it. So start with the clearance hole, and then we'll go from there. Alright, next step here is to go ahead and put two of these together. See how the head of the carriage bolt? I'm just going to put a little tack weld right there when we get around to the welding step. I'm going to put two washers between to give a little bit of wiggle room. I won't make it this tight when I go ahead and put it together, final assembly, but need to figure out how far apart these need to be and get our angle for the feet and the top. So got 20 3/4 inches. Oh, that didn't just happen. That was about 1/16 of an inch off. Not bad. Just to make this easier on myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up the corners here. You know what? That's wrong. So let's stop and think about this for a second. So that's 20 3/4 to the inside, or just to the outside. Let's see. I need room for my angle here. Yeah, so we probably want that at 21. Or 21 1/4. That's still close enough. So we can go ahead and take this apart now. And we'll go ahead and set our saw. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get this done. Got our angle gauge here. I'm going to go ahead and line this up. I tend to, for this kind of stuff, I just tend to line it up with the edge of the slot. It's close enough. We're not building a rocket ship here. Alright, now I just gotta make sure we cut these the right way. Alright guys, off camera I went ahead and cut a couple more pieces for us here. A piece of angle for the top and a spreader for the bottom, so I'm just going to do what I usually do and line the piece up with the edge of my table. I know my table's square. Just makes it a little bit easier. Go ahead and clamp this down. That'll hold that, and then I can take and square this other piece, which is good right there. It's lined up right here on the edge. This of course will have to be tipped this way for welding. So we'll go ahead and get that tacked into place and then check it for square again. Alright, we'll go ahead and line this side up. Then we kind of got, I know you guys can't see, but this end I'm just going to measure up. We'll just randomly say 6 inches. Both sides. It's just for a spreader bar. Doesn't have to be perfect. Put a second tack on here. Still square. Yep. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and lay our other pieces in. Spacers in. For a second. So measure right here at the middle and get our other spacer, which is going to be 12 1/8. Sure on that. Put that tight against there, then you can actually see it. Yep, 12 1/8. When the saw starts getting dull, you can tell that it starts leaving burrs. Just going to line that one up by eye. Yeah, need something underneath there to hold it up. About 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and take this other spacer out and move it to the top. You know, I guess that really doesn't make a difference because that's as close as they're going to get together anyways. So now I need another piece of angle, 18 3/8. When you find that, get it cut, and finish putting this in together. Now I didn't have any more 1.5 inch angle. Found a piece of 3/4 inch angle. Once again, just going to line it up by eye. This is just tacked together right now because I didn't know if we're 100% sure on any of the measurements. That seems a little high to me. By the time I add in the tray, which is another 8 inches, and I'll put it up here. I don't know, that might actually be nice to have it a little higher. Alright guys, give me a couple minutes. I'm going to think about this and make a decision. Alright guys, I set it up here, put the saw on it. Man, the tray's not in here, but that doesn't make a difference. And I played with it for a few minutes. And you know what? I think I like it at this height. Be much easier to see your cut line closer up. I don't have to bend over at all. It's not like it's really heavy. Even with the water tray full, it's not that heavy. It's fairly stable. Might have to shim a little bit. Of course, it's not completely welded yet, so that'll make a difference too. Yeah, there's no feet on the bottom of it, which it is getting feet. So it doesn't cut into a floor or anything, so I think we're going to go with this height. Let's get it finished welded. Now I just got to figure out some kind of chain or something to keep these from spreading apart. Let me run over here and check what I have, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, found some chain. Just going to put it across the top here, right at the edge. 9 3/16. Just going to use a couple of self-drilling, self-tapping screws. Okay, that'll work just fine. Now I need some feet on here. So let's see what we have that we can make feet out of. 1.5 by 1/8. Make them just slightly bigger than the and so yeah. 2 1/4. All right, get this cut up and we'll be right back. All right, guys, I got the feet placed underneath the legs. Just probably gonna do some little quick tack welds. Nothing spectacular. All right, guys, I'm not gonna bore you to death with rounding off all these corners and getting any burrs and BBs off. Go ahead and do that, get it painted, and I'll bring it back and show you the final product.